What's up, man? It's your boy Willie Lynch Jr, the traveling black vegan on the day. Look, man, I told y'all this day was coming. I told y'all I was about to bring something. Y'all been asking, when you gonna get your own show? When you gonna do your own thing? We tired of Facebook Live. We tired of Instagram posts. Nigga, we want to see you on a regular basis. You need your own podcast. You need your own thing. And we need to have it scheduled because we tired of this haphazard shit, Willie. And look, don't tell me what to do. You can ask me. Look, this is not McDonald's. I don't take orders, especially from none of you niggas. But I listen. And look, man, we here. This is the day, man. I finally got it, man. This is my own show. This is my podcast. And ain't nothing dead over here because it's all the way live with your boy Willie Lynch Jr, man. The traveling black vegan. And I'm going to bring, like, this show is going to be very diverse. Like, my mind. I'm crazy as hell. Remember my mom and my daddy, first cousins. They met at the family reunion, nigga. So I got extra chromosome and I had several extra toes on one of my ankles. Look, I'm different. I'm special. So this is gonna be amazing. I got different things my personalities. I got different stuff inside my head. So one day we're gonna be talking about herbs and health and nutrition. Sometimes we're gonna be talking about history because I'm a historian. We're gonna be talking about food, mushrooms, nigga, because I'm into the mycology. I love them shrooms, the psychedelic ones and the lion's mane, the portobellos, the cremini, the oysters. Bitch, I love all of them. So we're gonna be talking about everything, man, from food to comedy. Because again, don't forget, I'm a comedian. And I'm gonna be doing interviews with some legends, man. I'm talking about straight legends, people that don't regularly do interviews with regular folks. I'm talking about, we're gonna give you some things that you've been asking for. Like, it's a lot of podcasts online that people like and they're interested in, but this is gonna be the dopest one. This is gonna be the most unique one. You're not only gonna laugh, but you're gonna learn. You're gonna be entertained and you're gonna be influenced. And this is healing and human, man. And look, ain't nothing dead over here. This is electrical. Like the Greek god, that's what people don't even know. The word electric come from the Greek goddess Electra. And she was the goddess of life. So we talking about life, live, living, all the way live with your boy Willie Lynch Jr. And look, we here, man. Look, let's go. We here. We look. We ain't there, we here. And my first guest, man, is a legend. This is somebody that I grew up watching, somebody I grew up looking up to. I met him several years ago in St. Louis at a comedy show. And I was fortunate enough to be able to book him, and he's in town this evening. We got a big show coming up, and this is a legend, man. This is not a regular person. This was one of the dopest comedians that ever touched the mic, one of the most original, most influential impressionists. You know, he was avant-garde. He was the mayor of Rap City, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is one of the first. Look, some of the first of everything. Introduce some of your first comedians. Like, I'm just gonna bring them on, man. Y'all make some noise, show some love. Y'all look through your audience who ain't even here. Y'all clap for the legend, mayor of Rap City. Give it up for Chris Thomas, y'all. Show some love, man.
Yes. That's what's up, Willie. How you doing, bro?
Oh man, I never felt better. I had less and wanted more.
Hi, yes, sir, bro. And I'm the meat eater, I guess. You the vegan.
Damn right. And mushrooms over here, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes. Hey, I'm gonna have to. Think about doing that. You know, as you get older, the body seems to react to different things that you eat now other than what you're talking about. Now, I've eaten vegan before, and I really like it. It reminds me a lot of meat, even though it's a plant-based type of
food. Even before we really get rolling, like this, I'm gonna give you some game.
Right.
Don't just do the vegan thing.
Okay.
I'm considered I'm a student of Dr. Sebi.
Right.
So we call it alkaline vegan or beyond vegan, as my man Crush Foster likes to say. Because what you don't want, like when I first became a vegan,
right.
I became a vegan because I lost my aunt. She died on her birthday, pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
And I started studying about what meat does to the body, and I was like, I'm gonna try to give it up. And I did, but I started I was eating tofu and stuff like that.
Okay.
And nigga, my hair was falling out. And I couldn't boo-boo for nothing. I kept pooting.
Wow.
And it smelled like rubber bands.
Wow.
I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Wow.
And so that's when I found out about Dr. Sebi. And then I went to the alkaline side. So that's one thing y'all gonna see on this show. I'm gonna show you how to cook some of this food. But anyway, we'll get into that later. But right now, man, the OG, man, the legend, bro. It's a pleasure to have you sitting here right now, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so just tell what you want. Tell us who you are, where you're from, like where did it all begin? Like,
well, talking about comedy, started in I was born in Greensboro, North Carolina.
You from the South, G?
I'm from the South, but I was raised in, as we say in D.C., DMV,
Okay.
D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. And I started out basically on the Eastern Shore, but then in Baltimore is where everything came to the forefront. During elementary school, we used to have plays. We did a play called Christopher Columbus, and I wrote a song to the play, and they let me use it. And the play was like, Christopher Columbus sailing across the sea. He's going to see if the world is round, so he can tell me. People would not listen, so he's going to see if the world is really round, like he said it would be. And from there, I don't know, it was like the principal or the teachers. I started being on the morning announcements right before the principal. And that became a mainstay during the junior high school and senior high school seasons.
And so what grade you say this was in?
Elementary school.
Okay,
elementary school, right, in Baltimore.
Okay. And it's that you've been.
It just been doing. Hey, and then I started making money in school. They started paying me $500 to do assemblies.
$500 back then.
$500 to do See, back then it's a little older than you. So back then, this is when Elvis first passed away. So there's a guy in my school named John Seaton, and he could do Elvis. If Elvis needed a stand-in, it was John.
He white boy?
White boy.
Okay.
White boy, had girls throwing panties, and I guess I was the other. Okay, we got one for back then, black and white liked Elvis. We didn't discriminate. Elvis was the man, you know. He was girl happy and love me tender. So, but I did all these impressions, man. I was doing the Wolfman Jack. All right, this Wolfman Jack tonight here on the Midnight Special. So they found it very rare, especially a black guy doing white voices. And they was like, wow, this is crazy because black folks shouldn't be able to do white voices as well as I did them. Yeah. You know, doing the George Burns. Hello there, this is George Burns. Hey, by the way, I feel pretty good. Hey, can you do John Wayne? Well, you damn right I can do John Wayne. Ha, 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 ha.
Nathan Burdett. My daddy.
and then it went on into, went to Howard University of their children's theater, and then they made me a member of the Howard Players. That was the actual drama group at Howard University.
Now, did you attend Howard for college?
I did a few.
Few days?
I did, man, a couple months.
Okay. All right. So, and how did you end up becoming a stand-up?
I had a wild imagination, man. I think that my mission in life was to save the world, and that's what I always tried to do, man. I always believed in people loving and caring about each other. So one day I attempted to jump off a house, thought I was Superman. I had it all planned and put my towel on. When the bus pulled in front of my house, I jumped off the bus, ran upstairs, came through the window, and the kids was like, look. They didn't say, look up in the sky. They was like, that dude is crazy. And I jumped, broke my arm, and then it went on to the $6 Million Man, thinking I could run fast. Chipped my kneecap. It's like every year before my birthday, I would always break something, break a shoulder, break a finger. Just trying to be heroic.
And then you said, fuck jumping off buildings, I'm gonna jump on stage.
Exactly. Well, that came on doing the impressions.
Okay.
And how I got into doing comedy was a buddy of mine said, man, you do them impressions good, but you need to know how to talk about your life and do comedy. His name is Marlon Jackson. He was the president of the Black Student Union at Howard University.
Okay.
And I used to go over his house, and he used to talk about different. Then I started learning, I think I got a lot to talk about. And then as I start traveling with all the rap groups, Public Enemy,
Ho. You was traveling. You was touring. Were you touring with him?
I toured with Public Enemy. In fact, I did a famous video, the first long-length rap video in American history called Night of the Living Bassheads. I'm a reporter in the video.
It's Black History, right? Look, okay, I'm sorry.
So after Michael Jackson did Thriller, they did, Public Enemy did a video called Night of the Living Bassheads. Me and MC Light was reporters, but I had the big part and I had the big scene. I was at this lady's house and I was pouring to this pot where we had like steam coming out of it, and I was like, this is the wash pot, this is also the cooking pot, and I was doing all these voices, which, and you know the group Public Enemy, I traveled with them on the tour bus with them with Flavor, Professor Griff, Chuck D, S1W, Terminator X, and man, that was a hell of an experience because they thought they were radical, and since they were under the Nation of Islam, it was deep, man. But God put you in different situations, and that was really one of the most outstanding situations. I was on a tour bus with Run DMC. I mean, it goes on and on, man, with the tour. It's a lot of things that happened from my transition from being a host on a world tour, hip hop tour, to then going to Rap City.
To the 90s, it's New Year. Da, 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 da. But guess what? Even though it's the 1990s, we're not stopping. We're still gonna stay in the 80s, and we're gonna show you some of the hottest videos of the 80s decade. But don't forget, we do nothing but show you but high five the videos. We have the 2 Live crew, Big Daddy Kane, 3 times dope plus more. So stay tuned because we'll be right back with more of the 80s. All right, Happy New Year. All right, if I'm lying, I'm not.
So when was it where you said, okay, I'm doing stand-up now? Because I know hosting is different than just doing stand-up. Let me give you a perfect example. One of my good friends, she started out as a host. Her name is Corey Bell.
Okay.
Corey tours with Monique.
Okay.
And now she's touring with Cat Williams.
Right.
I met her in Jamaica and she was just hosting and she was funny as hell.
Right.
Then she eventually said, I'm gonna try to do stand-up. You know, so there's a big difference. Like I used to be, you kind of.
Well, I'm an impressionist. So I'm an impressionist. That is really, I'm mimicking people. Yeah. Just like Jay Farrell, Rich Little.
So even with Jay, I used to work with Jay.
Right.
I remember when he had reached out to me because he was doing Caroline's and he wanted me to come watch his set.
Okay.
Because I used to help people. I used to punch up people's material and stuff like that. I wanted to really work with him because I thought he was phenomenal.
Right.
So I saw him film his special in New York, and one of the things that I was kind of telling him, and I even told him a couple of years ago, after watching another impressionist, a comedian who's an impressionist, because there's a difference. Well, my boy Zoo Man, Corey Zoo Man,
right? I know Zoo.
And like he's a stand-up, but he can do impersonations.
Right.
And his comedy was so dope to me because it wasn't just laden with just impersonations.
Right. He made his own characters.
Yes.
Oh man, he did the Chinese lady who was in the church and she caught the Holy Spirit.
Who's Zoo?
Zoo Man, yes.
I saw Zoo when he was with Cat. So I saw some different things. But my point was, when it comes to the stand-up,
right?
Like you start off as an impressionist. Right. When I started doing comedy, I was like 14. I used to do impersonations too.
Right.
But once I kind of got serious, I stopped doing those and I started writing material. So my question is, when did you say I am a stand-up? I'm not just hosting. I'm not just doing impersonations, but I actually have a set. Like when did that happen?
Well, I never stopped doing impressions because that's part of being a comedian. You're mimicking people, and that's what. If you notice on Saturday Night Live now, let me explain something. I auditioned for Saturday Night Live during the time that Eddie Murphy did. So this is what the producer told me. They said, young man, we have already hired this guy named Eddie Murphy. But if we didn't hire Eddie Murphy, we would have hired you. And that's all I needed to hear. I never went back. I don't think sketch comedy was my bag. I wasn't settled to do a lot of writing and sit around. My energy level was off the chain till I think of this day that Eddie Murphy probably did it better than I could have done it.
Yeah.
We probably would have been even on the impressions, but on the sketch comedy, my imagination wasn't really tuned into what they was doing on Saturday Night Live.
Okay, not to jump around, but this how I
Right.
do because I'm my mama's son. Attention span is a motherfucker.
Right.
But speaking of sketch comedy,
Right.
some people say the greatest sketch comedy show of all time.
Okay.
Some say it's In Living Color.
Right.
Some even say Saturday Night Live. But then some people say the Chappelle Show. Some people say Chappelle is the GOAT. Now,
Right.
do you know? Of course, you know Chappelle.
I do.
But tell them your relationship with Chappelle and Chappelle started stand up.
I'm the guy that introduced David Chappelle on stage when he was 14 years old. I'm the one. His mom was the club called Comedy Connection in Greenbelt, Maryland. I think David went to school right around that area. And I had the only comedy night on Sunday. Hamburger used to come down from New York. Hamburger and Bill Bellamy.
That's my OG.
Cool Bubba Ice. Everybody used to come down because I had the hottest Sunday night in the DMV. So one day, David's mother came. I didn't know him, and she was like, "Excuse me, sir, can you let my son on? He's 14 years old." I was like, "Okay, I'll let him on." So I went on stage. I said his name wrong. I said his last name wrong. I said, "Ladies and gentlemen," I gave him one of the best. I don't know what it did to him, but I gave him an introduction that I probably would have given you if I had brought you on stage, Willie. I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, here's a young man that's 14 years old, and you never know, he might be our next biggest star. Put your hands together and welcome to the stage, David Chappelle."
Yeah.
And
I don't know where I saw it. It was on the
yeah. Yeah, he always remembered that. That's why I think he got the people who was mixed up, but he remember what I said. You know, don't forget he smokes a little bit now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but I'm the one who said it.
So it's crazy. I thought that it was Tony Woods.
Tony Woods was his mentor.
Okay.
I'm the one that introduced him on stage for the first time.
So you and Tony came up around the same.
Me and Tony came around at the same time. We used to do shows together all the time.
Yeah. Tony ain't no joke. I work with Tony. Matter of fact, in the DMV, it's at Oxon, Maryland.
Oxon Hill.
Oxon Hill.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah, we were at the casino out there.
Okay, y'all at the casino out in MGM.
The MGM.
Right,
yeah,
right,
for the
right,
Capitals.
right.
The
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. See, that's the crazy thing, bro.
Right.
Like, people talk about the cities that produce the best stand-up.
Oh, we have the far by. We have the leading. We are the Mecca.
Look, you see how they do it? And it's what you're
It's
supposed
the
to.
Mecca.
Ethnocentrism. Because I told somebody before, 'cause sometimes people say Chicago.
Right.
And
No, it's
I'm a
Mecca.
Chicago comedian because
DC.
I came up in Chicago.
Right.
But then you stop and you think, because I'm from St. Louis. I'm
Right.
from East St. Louis. And you be like, okay, arguably the greatest comedian ever is Richard Pryor. Not Richard Pryor. I didn't mean Richard. I love Richard, but one of my favorite probably ever above Richard would be Red Fox.
Okay, Red Fox.
Dick Gregory.
So go ahead.
Red Fox, Dick Gregory. They from St. Louis.
Okay.
But then you can't forget about y'all. You got Tony Woods, you got Chappelle, you got
Tommy Davidson.
Tommy Davidson, you got Teddy Carpenter,
Wanda
Dominique.
Sykes.
I ain't know Wanda Sykes from DC.
Yeah, that's right.
Dominique, my favorite.
David Edwards.
David Edwards.
Jay Phillips.
Oh, Jay Phillips, nice.
Yeah, we have. I mean, everybody is.
Rig
They
Grant.
actually have a documentary called The Mecca.
Coco Brown.
Yep, Coco Brown. It goes on and on, bro.
Yeah, DC ain't.
Willie, it goes on and on. And guess what? I have the only comedy night there. So I have the only night that people came to. They had Garvin's and they had the Comedy Cafe, but I have the only comedy night. And I used to do all the Def Jam auditions. They gave me the rights, Bob Sumner. They gave me the head of all the auditions in D.C.
What year did you do that? You did your first season?
I didn't get to do the first season, and then I did, before Martin left, I did it.
Okay.
I think I did like the second year, but I did all the auditions, just like Star Search. When I was on Star Search, I had won. They came to town to audition everybody. I won to be on Star Search. Mm-hmm. They told me, they said, you won, but you had too many credits. You don't perform with Prince. You don't perform with all these people, so you can't, they went with somebody who didn't have that much credit. Then later on, I went on Star Search and got a perfect score. On Star Search, I got a perfect score.
Was that filmed in D.C.?
No, it was filmed in Hollywood.
Okay. Damn. So you did that. I remember seeing you on Def Jam.
I did Def Jam. I did the first comedy special on BET. It was called
Black History, my niggas. And this ain't even February.
It wasn't Comic View. It was the BET comedy special hosted by Robin Harris. It was me, Robin Harris, Louis Diggs, Ronaldo Ray.
Ronaldo Ray,
he's passed away. And they actually have a documentary that it will be seen in Las Vegas Juneteenth, the Ronaldo Ray story.
Where's he from? He's not from St. Louis, is he?
I always seen him out in California, so I really don't know.
Yeah, he was a monster.
Him and Rodney Winfield.
Right now, he's from here.
Yeah, that's my dog.
Yeah.
Then I could tell you some stories about Rodney.
Give me one. Can you do one?
He had a gout, and his ankles used to swell up real big, and he used to go, Chris and everything and everybody and talking and everything. We used to try. I can't tell you everything because I'm kind of like this. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I've been around a lot of them who passed away. Robin Harris. I was with him a couple of weeks before he passed away. So a lot of my friends are gone, but you just keep it moving, bro.
So how do you stay relevant? Because I know you working everywhere. That's why I was surprised you came to work.
No, you said this is Willie Lynch. When you said this is Willie Lynch, I said I'm going.
Oh, you see that?
That's what I said.
Mama, they rock with me, G. But go ahead, say it.
People have been passing your name around.
In a good way?
Yeah, of course. I told you, man, nothing but love for Willie.
Oh, man.
That's what they were saying. And that's a good thing because in our black community, I looked it up, what is the crabs in the pot? Mm-hmm. That's not a reference to just black folks. That's been around way before black folks. And we use it as a reference when we talk to each other. And with black folks, we like crabs in the pot. Brother, that's been around forever. You're talking about people in general who don't see the light. You see the light. And when you can see the light, you'll never run into a wall. And that's the most important things about life, is knowing how to get around and maneuver, because everybody is different. And if they can, as we were speaking, program themselves to become more adaptable to people than just themselves and those who they hang out with.
That was deep. That was deep. That was one of them haiku moments. Like, that was some deep shit, nigga. We need some bells or somebody with some incense or something with this motherfucker. But so you've been in show business for years.
I've been in for years. I used to be in Vegas. So I used to hang out with Sugar Ray Leonard.
Did you have a residence? You ever do a residency?
No, I never have.
You just hosted all of this shit out there.
I do radio now in Vegas. I do the morning show in Vegas on 107.1 FM and 1400 AM. We call the Morning Squad with Spanky E and Hot Panda. We do the morning show at 7 AM.
What, now, I don't know if I think you got something going on with you. I see pictures floating around with you and LeBron. What's up with that? With the King, man.
I hang out with his mom and his uncle. They have a group called the Hall of Famers. They put me in a group called the Hall of Famers. And if people want to see the documentary, it's called Hall of Famers. That's with the S at the end. Hall of Famers, Season 2 with the number 2. LeBron James is the cover picture. So I was in Cleveland many years ago, and I ran into a brother named Fly Cry, who's a rapper, kind of local superstar rapper in Cleveland, and he does film documentaries. Who was it? Liquid Raw. That was his production companies. Him and a friend of his, and he asked could he do some video, and we was talking. He wanted to interview me, and he said he was a rapper, and I thought that was cool. You know, he came to D.C., flew to D.C., and that meant a whole lot. He came to D.C., and he had a story within itself, man, on things that he did in his life that changed his life. So I remember the big time when LeBron, they had the All-Star game in Cleveland in 2022, and he told me to come, and his mother, Gloria, invited me to her fashion show. It was cold and snowy that day, and I went, and Uncle James, who's his uncle that he talks about all the time, that was his influence, showed him how to save money and everything. So I went and got to hang out with them, and in fact, they picked me up. They had like a SUV, and we were driving around, and they were actually filming the show with their production company, and I did an interview with him and Uncle James and Fly Cry, and then after the fashion show, LeBron walks up, and you don't see him a lot of pictures. Next minute, snap. Next minute, I said, what can I do for these guys? I knew a lot of people. So later on in life, they called, and BET was looking for me for the Rap City documentary. Rap City, and he kept posting a lot of stuff on his Facebook about me.
Who, Bron?
No, Fly Cry.
Okay.
So then the BET reached out to him. Then they found they found me. So what happened was I did the documentary. But before that, I did a show down in Myrtle Beach that I hosted called the I Love Seafood Festival. And I invited them to come out and rap on the show. And then Gloria came. His mother, LeBron's mother, came because he supports her brother, Uncle James. And it's been a big relationship. And then when LeBron was about to go over 50,000 points, they invited me again to the game. That was my first Lakers game.
Oh, you was there?
I was there.
Damn, man.
I was there sitting with Uncle James, Fly Cry, and Gloria. And then that's when I got to meet Bronny, too. So we took the pictures, and so they have a little group called the James Gang. So I'm part of their little group called the James Gang.
Damn, man, you just plugged in with everybody.
No, well, you know what it is? Being true to yourself and being honest and understanding that bending because somebody act a certain way, you can bend just enough where you can fit in, but then they understand that certain things they do, you just don't do. Yeah. Just give you your own respect. It's like a person that drinks, right? And they act up and you tell them, and they still don't change their ways. Yeah. And then some dudes say, did I really act that way? Yes, you did. Some will make sure they drink and they'll try to cool it down no matter how loud. Some people just can't help it. Alcohol just takes them overboard. So I just try to get along with people, man. As long as you ain't trying to do nothing to hurt me or anybody, I'm good. You don't get pulled over in the car time. All the shit is his. We could be able to speak for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Howard tells somebody, if you ride, you got a joint, please pull you over. Tell them it's your joint. They have the authority to say you can go. But don't go start pointing fingers. It's not mine. Be real.
So you made it all this way without snitching. I mean, because
there's nothing to snitch on.
Okay. He said, man, I don't know who shit that is.
I don't know. I don't. There's nothing to snitch on. You just people. That's what I'm saying. You let people know that I got something that I don't need to get in trouble for. I don't need to get in trouble for. So, just please give me the honor. Do it when I ain't around.
Yeah.
So I can talk about it.
That's facts. Now you mentioned one of my favorite comedians, somebody that was influential in my career starting off. Somebody I'm still close to this day.
Who?
Bill Bellamy, man. Tell me something.
Yep, that's my dog, man. Well, Bill used to come down to the Comedy Connection, and that's when he do time. He had the there was a room in New York that they used to do.
In Jersey,
Peppermint Lounge, where he used to host. So I used to go up there, and he used to come down. And Bill is a good. That's why their careers last a long time. Like Cedric.
Just good people. Like for what I know, I'm interjecting. I want you to continue.
Right.
Like Bill, I remember when I got back into comedy after college in 2009.
Right.
And Bill, I opened for him in St. Louis at the House of Comedy.
Right.
And it's like, I think he still was Bill Bellamy.
Right.
But he wasn't like popping in the comedy on
the
tour circuit or whatever.
Right.
And I watched him from 2009 to about 2014, just like kind of reemerge.
Right.
And become like a powerhouse again in comedy. And he's just real likable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he the dude that all the dudes want to be like and all the women won't.
Right.
And I remember because one of my other mentors, one of my OGs is Ali Sadiq.
Right, I know Ali.
Ali was telling me, said he learned how to be likable from Bill.
Right.
And he learned how to be a professional or be a celebrity from D.L. Hughley.
Right.
And so, but that's one thing about Bill. It's just like everybody like him.
Right.
Like I've never seen him get mad. Like I remember we was in Atlanta and this one female comedian, this one sister, she asked him because she do some time.
Right.
And the show was already long. He was trying to tell her no, and he was just so calm. And I'm like, that's why this nigga stayed around so long.
Right.
Because he's just so cool and people,
right.
You can't say nothing bad about him.
You wait till your turn. Your turn, like when Rap City, I lived life like a rock star. You know, like I said, traveling with the groups that I travel with. You know, doing shows with the Beastie Boys and doing a show with Prince, traveling with Luther Vandross and those people. And then there's going to be a time if you're not doing the movies like Denzel and Samuel L. Jackson, it's going to be a taper off period. So you got like doing COVID, what COVID did, it gave too much information about entertainment. People are not supposed to know that much, and now everybody think they can do it. Everybody wants to be an entertainer. Who am I to judge who's good, I don't judge anyone, but I can pick and choose where I want to be on, what podcast I want to be on, and what TV show I want to be on. If I can't be on none, I made the right decision for myself. So sometimes you just got to lay back. You can't get mad at Hollywood. That's their money.
Yeah.
That's Tyler Perry money. Now, what I do not like in comedy is when people run around and do each other's material. That's the one time that a person has to man up. It's a mind thing. It's either how clever you are, what kind of imagination you have, your life. Yeah, we go to the bathroom the same way, but guess what? It ain't always the same way. There's always going to be an inch off on how you sit on that toilet. So what a lot of people don't know, Willie, is this comedy game, some people, they want all this instant success, but when they get there, those big wheels, those who know entertainment, they're going to test you and they can bring you down as soon. No further how you rise, they can bring you down. I've seen friends, and I'm not going to say, back in the day, who they gave TV shows. Mm-hmm. They gave them a night show, but still it was a national audience, and they didn't pass the test in one night. They didn't know how to interview, what to say, and guess what? Hollywood wasn't going to teach them, and they failed, and they're going to blame it on Hollywood didn't want them, they were blacklisted, or whatever. And that's probably most of the majority here who had a shine and they're not shining anymore. Just wait till you think people need. That's all I do is. I think I'm funny enough. I ain't said I'm the greatest comedian in the world, and that's a matter of opinion. To my mom, I am, and my sister, I am. But to everybody else, I got fans. But I'm not going to get mad at because I felt that I was good for a part that I didn't get. Just, hey, find something else that Chris Thomas fits in.
Them jewels, man. Them straight up jewels. A few more before we get out of here. What? Now you talking about joke stealing?
Yeah, and I think that it's everybody lives a life. They woke up this morning. What happened? They did this and that. But you can't be young and then want to go ahead and rise that quick unless you're a genius. But just because you on stage with me and hear me say something and then tomorrow, that's why I do a lot of my old stuff that's already been on television. My new stuff, I got so much stuff from the Apollo, Def Jam, Comic View. I just throw out my greatest hits.
So that's good you said that. So What is your approach? Like how often do you write? And what would you...
I don't write, I live.
Okay.
I'm living to talk about, and I'm not looking for circumstances. It's going to happen anyway. If you go and look in the airport, you'll see a different walk on everybody. That's material. You go into a club and sit at a bar. It can be some people loud, some people laid back, some people fighting. So I don't write. I might write something that I don't want to forget.
Yeah.
But no, you live life, driving down the road or knowing that car that just passed you driving 100 miles an hour, knowing that you're probably going to see them down the road crashed because the way they driving, so.
And for young comedians, what's some advice you could give?
Want to do it. I ain't talking about we all comedians. My mom a comedian. My mom can tell a joke. Your mom can tell a joke. Everybody can tell a joke. But we're going through the extreme. We're explaining our life in a short way and making people laugh about our situation or what's going to happen. The most big material that people listen to more is sex. So you start talking sex, everybody can catch up with you. You start talking about politics, nobody knows what you're talking about. Start talking about health, such as what you do, there's going to be a few that understand until those want to listen. So you probably got a whole lot of different stuff you can talk about doing health and how the body works. And then some people, chicken, chitlins and all that, that's their daily routine. So we all got something to talk about. But I don't think that we have, I see the biggest problem is when they want to be on the same show as you. So now people always say, well, you got plenty of material, Chris, you can do something else. So you don't understand. I'm trying to help them get to where they want to. It may not work with me, but in Hollywood it's not going to work. Because if I'm not going to endorse you, then who is? And somebody call and say, well, you know any comedians? And I'm saying, damn, I wish that person right there wouldn't. But once the comedian, your brotherly fraternity of comedians start talking about you, ain't too much good is coming out of this when we can say, man, that person do. If you get 2 or 3 more comedians telling that somebody's doing their material, ain't too much good gonna come out of it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I went through when I first started, because I remember I used to do this joke about autism.
Right.
Now the low hanging fruit was, mistaking the word autistic
right.
for artistic. Like
Okay.
that's low hanging fruit.
Right.
But when I told the joke, it was a true story, because I used to teach autistic preschools and
Right.
kindergartens, and it was a veteran that had a joke about autism, and when he saw me, I was new, and he thought I stole it, and I felt so bad because I knew I didn't steal it.
So you got to understand, it's not. There are a lady friend of mine. She She teaches kids with autism. So that's not really stealing when you're talking about. It's the similarity of the joke, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the joke I did on television where I was talking about. I ran into a girl who had Down syndrome, and she was at the club dancing, and I looked at her and I said, "What's up, baby?" And she turned around and said, "Goody, goody." And I was like, "Oh crap!" I said, we made love. Every time we made love, she kept yelling out multiplication problems. By the time I hit it, she yelled, 3 times 3 is 8. I hit it again. 1 million times 1 million is 0. I said, "You right, baby." She said, "Oh, goody, goody."
It was for me. I felt so bad because he thought I took his stuff that I became like obsessed with writing.
Really?
Yeah, because it hurt. You know.
Is he still doing comedy?
Yeah. But again, when you just meet, I was a new comic.
Right.
And he had a joke about dating this girl. Her son was slow, and he didn't know it.
Right.
And then, you know, she was like, he said, "Why are you doing this, that, and other?"
Right.
And he's like, he autistic. He said, "I've been drawing my whole life, and I ain't never done nothing like that."
But ask yourself, did you see him do it before you did yours?
I didn't. But when you knew.
Well, don't worry about it. Nope.
Yeah, I get it now.
Don't worry, but don't even let it get. That's why I don't hang out with a lot of comics.
Yeah, but this was the OG, and for me, I brought it up because I literally didn't steal, but then I started seeing people take my stuff.
Right.
And then, like, you know.
Twist it around.
Yeah.
Right.
Like people, like I went to college.
Right.
So one of my opening bits is saying how I went to college. I got 2 girlfriends, they twins, Fannie and Sally Mae, and I hate them heifers.
Right.
My student loans. So for me to go to college, and I'm actually getting phone calls on a daily basis pre-COVID about from my, trying to get me to pay my student loans.
Right.
And here you are, somebody who didn't go to school, and you got a joke. You done wrote a whole joke about student loans.
Right.
Like, bro.
Right. That's what people. That's what. Believe it or not, that's what Tyler Perry told me this, and I'm gonna repeat. He invited me to Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And I was sitting in the audience, and he came on stage doing intermission as Medea. And he said, "Chris Thomas, I see you out there. That's right. I do your jokes in my plays." Now, for one side of me was saying, "Yay." And the other side was saying, "What?" You see what I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Because he's acting it out. That's how the show The Laugh Mob used to be on, where they used to act out the joke. Laugh tracks, yeah. And Bob Sumner, the producer, we used to talk about that.
Shout out to Bob. Bob put me on Apollo, man.
Yeah, we used to talk about that, and he went and did. I thought I'd like to make my jokes come alive to life, and he went and did something similar, But let's think about it. If you doing your joke about the autism, kid with autism, and then all of a sudden somebody, a TV show, doing it exactly like you doing it on stage. Now your audience, once you do the joke, they're gonna go, "I've seen that somewhere before."
Yeah.
No, that's a no-no.
Yeah, and that's one thing, because I teach a comedy class.
Right.
Teach my students.
Right.
One of the best ways to avoid stealing is to write personalized material.
Right.
And that's
don't be around a lot of comedians who tend to sound and do the same way you do your material.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I can't see us being on the same circuit, and I'm doing a joke about lace front wigs,
right?
And now you're doing one, and after you just saw me do one,
right?
You might not be stealing my stuff,
exactly.
But if I'm doing one on lace fronts or BBLs, why would you create one as well?
Exactly. That's when your awards come. That's when you start getting awards, like the TV awards that I won for. BET did one for Comedy View. Steve Harvey was the host. I didn't show up. I said, "It's a lot." Even though I worked for BET, I said, "Ain't nothing but a bunch of politics," and I won. They said my name, and I'm yelling, "Here I am!"
Yeah.
But they sent the award. I won the George Kirby Award for best impressionist.
Good. Another question: who were some of your biggest influences? Number one, number two. What impact or influence did Bill Cosby play on you as a stand-up?
Of this day, I appreciate Bill Cosby. What his infidelities is in his life is him. But far as his shows, and he goes back to Bill Cosby was a school teacher in the school, the Fat Albert. I think Bill Cosby was a big influence, not just because he was black, because don't forget, they called him America's father. So if he was America's father, that means of all races. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just he's a black person's father. So Bill Cosby was very influential too. But coming up, we had the same people: Richard Pryor, Rich Little, the comedian, the impressionist that was one of mine, Rodney Dangerfield, Franklin and Jai, Red Fox. But at the end of the day, I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be even compared to them. I want to be compared, and people say, nobody is like Chris Thomas. Nobody's like Willie Lynch. That's how you want to be remembered. Like I'm remembered for doing this shoulder up and down. It sets me aside. As soon as people in Atlanta start doing the bankhead bounce, I got the call. They doing your dance, but they doing it with both shoulders.
I saw Snoop, I think it was on Instagram, he had made a post. He's like, you remember Chris Thomas? He was doing that.
Yeah, well, I used to be on tour with them back in the day when they was in NWA. I used to host that tour too, with Ice-T, NWA, Ice Cube, Eazy. But it's a shout out to Snoop for just remembering from them days, because I was there when Trouble T-Roy fell off that ramp. I was the host of the tour, and I seen Tupac cry and all that, man. So shout out to Snoop, and just to remember the mayor, him and Red Grant.
Yeah, Red's my Noop.
Yeah.
As a host, what are some key things that you would tell a young comedian when they're hosting a comedy show that they should be mindful
Be prepared. Think out the box. It's like the show I did on Rap City. Mm-hmm. It did not evolve until we went out in the streets to try to get the artists to do something that they don't normally do on a TV set. If they cook, okay, make me grilled cheese sandwiches. If you say you make the bomb grilled cheese sandwich, if you say you like go-kart race, then let's go to the go-kart. But ask them something that normally people don't. You're gonna find your signature question that's always that you'll find out that no one else can ask. But as a host, just like a record, you're gonna always welcome them to the show, tell them their credits, and then all of a sudden, if you're a fan, you're gonna know something deep about them.
Now that's good advice, but I'm talking about as a stand-up, because we're talking like at a show, like the show tonight.
Talking about going on stage?
Yes. So like you're at a comedy show and you're the host. Like what are some important things that you?
Well, how long you been doing it?
I've been doing comedy.
It's hard to tell. Nobody told me nothing when I went on stage. You got to find your niche. If you always need somebody to tell you how to be a comedian, nobody tell me how to be no comedian. I just went on stage and did it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to tell anybody, because they had this one teacher who was teaching comedians. He was telling these guys to steal other comedian jokes. And I remember one time one of the comedians did it, and I approached him about it, and I was trying to help him. I was saying, get this man some time, but I know he was going. And I didn't say nothing. I just left it like that. I was like, brother, I ain't worrying about it. You're gonna find out in this family of comedians that it's not what the people say about you, it's how the people in your family of entertainment feel about you. So when people go on stage, you got to learn on your own. I can't run up there if you do bad. You got to learn to succeed, and you got to learn to fail.
I showed and had my share of bombing.
But then you learned your lesson, right?
Oh, definitely.
So if a person pays $20 to come and see an open mic, then they know what they're getting. If a person come to see a professional show, you should always have that adjustment, because there's different people who love different types of comedy. Some people like rough comedy. Some people, they like clean comedy, you know, so.
All right. Well, I ain't gonna hold you too long. Any final words? Any like what you got coming up? Number one, and where can they find you? Where can people find you? Because I know you don't really do the social media thing.
I don't do the social media thing. It's because nobody's, unless you're promoting a show, but to wake up every day trying to tell people this is what I'm doing and this is how. I'm just not that type of person. I keep it to myself, and you'll find out if it was meant for you to find out.
Yeah.
You know.
Any projects you got coming up?
I got a few that I get calls on, and there's always somebody who's saying they can revamp my career. I get a lot of that. I can revamp your career, brother. You know, I can see you can do this. I'm like, well, let's see. You know, I got a lot of things that I'm doing right now. I'm doing a radio show, and we're talking about syndication on that show, maybe to 75 markets.
Okay.
But nothing.
Do you do a lot of shows still in DC?
I do. I'm working on just opening up comedy clubs because I know how to bring back an open mic night. I know how, because back then we used to have it packed. It would be packed as like you bringing in Kevin Hart. But I'm trying to find not those who have dreams and aberrations of being a comic. I'm trying to find out those who want to be a comic. I ain't talking about ones that don't want to get on stage so they can meet the girls. I'm talking about ones that are going to be serious about it. Because I don't own it.
Yeah.
I don't own it.
All right, man. It's your boy Willie Lynch Jr., man. Look, we had a great time today. See y'all when I see y'all, man. Look, y'all could be over there and stay dead over there. But over here, we all the way live, man. The dopest, newest, most entertaining, most educated, most ignorant podcast on the net right now.
I still want my money.
Yeah, whatever he said. We out. 2 fingers. No prints. Day. Beans. What up, though?